Hi there, welcome back. What we've got here today is a project that was not going to happen, and it may still not happen. If you're seeing this video, it's because I've decided to go ahead with it. If you don't, well, you won't see anything. Now, let me explain. This is a H Scott amplifier, integrated amplifier. It's the 460A, and I'm not even sure that this is a very sought after piece of equipment, but it looks cool. I like it. I like the faceplate. I like the meters. I like the type of knobs and switches that it has. I like this style of amplifier. And I know that Pioneer, Marantz, all those have pretty good pieces of equipment that fit into this category. And this certainly is not one of those. But the reason I'm doing this is I was looking at it and wondering if I should do it at all, because I don't really like doing something just for the sake of doing it. I didn't need another amplifier, and it gets a bit boring if you just redo things over and over again. But I showed some interior pictures to a friend of mine, and I said I didn't know if I wanted to tackle such a filthy piece of equipment. And he said, remove the transformer and chuck it in the bath. And I laughed. Well, I laughed until I thought about it. I've never tried washing circuit boards. I've done cleaning with isopropyl alcohol and all that sort of jazz, but I've never tried chucking this in water. I've always sort of been a little bit skeptical of giving your equipment a water bath. But I decided to give it a shot because this thing is in really, really bad shape, inside anyway. As far as function is concerned, it switches on, it actually starts playing, and then one of the channels starts going all over the place as far as DC is concerned, and then finally it goes into protection. So I'm not really too bothered about, well, I am bothered about getting it to work, obviously, but I'm not too bothered about giving you a full diagnosis of what's wrong with it. The main thing that's wrong with it is that it's in a really filthy state. There's grime just about everywhere, and I want to see if I can get this thing cleaned up with soap and water. Well, it works. This is amazing. I really find it quite amusing that I literally threw this board into a basin with dishwasher fluid, left it in there for a while, and then got a brush and started scrubbing away, and finally just let it out to dry. And this is the result. This is bloody amazing. I am not going to laugh again at some Indian gentleman who has a YouTube channel where he literally takes a whole amplifier and washes it down with a hose pipe. I'm not going to laugh anymore. I'm not going to get that far, but I certainly have got to respect some methods that I've never used before. After the drying period, there were a few spots that I cleaned out, and just to get some of the more stubborn dirt that hadn't come off with the washing. And now it's quite amazing. It's quite amazing. There are no components on here that should be damageable with water. There are no coils, there are no transformers, there are no relays. Literally, these components are all supposedly fully sealed. Now, here's the caveat. I have no idea if this is going to work, because I might have done some damage with the waterworks that I'll only find out when I switch it on. But what it has convinced me to do is to take out the other boards. And that's what I'm going to be doing. This first one I did sort of as an experiment. I did it actually before I was certain that we were going to have a video series on this. We may still not have a video series on this. I've got to warn you, although you won't be hearing this warning if that's the case. But I'm going to take out the preamp board now because I find it very amusing and very interesting. So this board's not going in yet because the preamp board sits below it, and it's going to be easier to do the preamp board first, and then when I put that back in, I'll put this one on, and then I'll do the power amp stage, which has, well, a few things I'll have to remove, like the protection relay. So let me carry on and fill you in as I go along. Have fun. We'll see in the end if this was all worth it or whether it's just a very clean brick that I'm left with. But you're going to find out just as I am. So fair's fair. I'm warning you. And here we are. We've got this mess out. And look at it. That is really, really filthy. Bloody hell. Well, the dirtier it is, the better it looks when it's clean. So we have a switch there, pots, that shouldn't be a problem in water, more switches, and another switch. This thing's going in the bath. The underside is actually miraculously quite clean. Okay, next time you see this one, it should be sparkling. Okay, here we are. Quite a lot has been done. This little baby's had a bath. And similar to the first board I showed you, the result was actually very, very good. So it got a bath, it got a brushing, it got a scrubbing, and it also got all the switches and pots cleaned with contact cleaner. So they should function quite well. And the underside, well, yeah, beautiful. Okay, no surprise there. The other thing I did was I resoldered all the contacts here that are connected to switches or pots, because I figured if that's going to fail somewhere, that's probably where it's going to be. And then I have to admit, I got a bit carried away. Let me show you. See that? It's been cleaned. So has that. So has that. So has that. And carrying right along, so has all of that. And the reason is, I got to the point where I had to remove the amp board. And I had a look on the underside. Let me show you. Look at that. Look at all that wiring. And I figured, well, let's play probability theory. What is the probability of me being able to disconnect all those wires, remove the board, wash it, dry it, and then get them all soldered perfectly in place without making one mistake? And I came to the conclusion that the probability of that happening was lower than the probability of me damaging the amp by actually washing it in place. So that's exactly what I did. I positioned the entire board, or the amp, over the edge of a sink, the kitchen sink. It was done while my wife was not here. She does not like me mixing dishes with electronics. I think you may understand what I'm talking about. But I did the washing there with a brush and water and dish soap. Really liberally brushed it on And then I rinsed it off with a water nozzle, very fine spray, so that I wouldn't spread water all over the place. I did the same with the board, the power supply board, and that allowed me to do the wires, the cleaning of the wires quite nicely. I avoided the transformer as much as I could. I think I was successful at that. So that's all been cleaned. The other thing I did was I'd removed the front panel, and there were quite a few stains here, which were sort of rust, sort of chemical degradation. It's like something leaked on here and ate away at the metal. So I cleaned that all down with some steel wool, and I got this front panel as clean as is possible. And then, just to protect the metal that had been sort of sanded, I did spray it with some clear lacquer, and that allowed me to put everything back in, or start to put things back in. So that is cleaned up, and it cleaned up very, very well. There's no dents or anything like that, so that's a relief. As for the power supply, well, the transformer didn't get any, or I hope it didn't get any, but I tried to get everything else in place, and it actually worked fairly well. There's obviously a little bit of sort of subsidiary cleaning that needs done, just to clean up some of the staining that happens. I'll clean the transformer, and then I'm going to put the boards back. Now, since I documented the removal of the wiring very carefully, I actually did the filming of it, as you saw earlier. I used that film more for my reference than anything else, because photographs are great, but if you can actually speak to yourself while you're cutting wires, it makes it a lot easier to get an accurate record of where they're supposed to go. So the next thing I'm going to do is put in that board down there, wire it up, and then put in that board at the top, and we should be pretty close to the final bath, or the end of the bath, if you can call it that. So let me get on with it. All right, people, here we are. We've got the whole amp back together again. I've done some more cleaning, and I think we should just give it a try. Let me show you up close. This thing's looking decidedly different to what it did when I received it. It actually looks like something that you can work on now, which is not what I had originally. However, what I don't know is if I've fixed it, done nothing to it, or completely screwed it up. You may have noticed when I was showing the boards that I've actually recapped that board, and I've also recapped that one down there. I thought that since I had them out, I should at least do that, because that's certainly something that I'll want to do. I have, however, not recapped that one, because, as I said, that one was not cleaned in the more conventional manner by taking it out. So I have no idea what's going to happen here. I know what was happening before. You'd switch it on, it would stick around a while, and then it went into protection, and the protection light here in the front would go on. I was not getting shorts. I wasn't getting a massive flow of current, because the dim bulb tester at the back there was not going crazy. It was drawing about, I think it was about 300 milliamps, so it wasn't actually a dead short, it was just going into protection. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to switch it on. But one more thing, I have cleaned the pots. I've done this completely in reverse. That's what you do when you get bored. My attention span is actually quite short, so I do get bored and I want to try different things. That's why I'm always trying to learn something new, and Although this is not a learning method that I would recommend to too many people, especially since I don't know what the result is. You know, this was a bit of a naughty experiment. But as I said at the beginning, this is not an amp that I need, or I wasn't even sure that it was going to be worth anything. It was sitting around and I had some fun with it. Okay, so here we are. I've got the lamp limiter on with one light bulb, so it's 40 watts, only one. It's on. And now I guess I better move away. Let's see what happens when I hit the switch. Volume down. The speakers are on, doesn't matter. Let's go. The relay clicked in. The light bulb is glowing, well, not too dimly. But it hasn't gone into protection. Nah, it's too good to be true. Nah. The selection works, tape 1 and 2, auxiliary, tuner, phono. So that works. Mode, stereo reverse, stereo normal, right, left, left plus right. These are the contours, loud contour on and off. Filters, high filter, that's 8 kilohertz on and off. Subsonic on and off. Oh, it's gone into protection. It's gone into protection. It's clicking away. It's doing exactly the same thing it was doing before. Out of protection. Treble, mid, bass, flat or variable, so that you can bypass the tone controls. But it's gone into protection. And one more thing I noticed is that little bulb is on, that one's off. There, it's gone into protection again. It's clicking on and off protection. It could be because that thing's drawing 140 milliamps, so it's seeing 178 volts. Let me give it one more light bulb. Now it's really clicking away. But the one thing we do know, it's going into protection, but it's not shorting. It's not actually drawing massive pulses of current from there. In fact, the current draw there is 200 milliamps pretty constantly, which means that the outputs are not shorted, at least not really shorted. So we have a problem here, and it's probably got to do with the bias. And when it goes in and out of protection like that, it's usually either a transistor or a diode. But again, I haven't changed capacitors there, so it could be that as well. But, okay, let me switch this off. And let me tell you what the plan is. I'm going to terminate this video here. I'm actually going to publish it, which is why you're seeing it, if you're seeing it. And I'm going to take a break now, because the next series, or the next video that I do on this, will actually be the repair. So this was actually the wash. This was the pre-wash. Like a washing machine, you got pre-wash and then you got wash. So I've done this in reverse. I've done the wash before the repair. And I've had some fun with it. I've had a good laugh. I really expected some smoke. And I wasn't going to be too worried about it. It's always something you can repair unless the transformer went or something like that. So I was expecting some more drama than this. This was actually quite an anticlimax. But what I'll do next is I'll actually do a video repairing this thing. Or trying to repair it. I think it shouldn't be too difficult. I've got the schematics. I think I can get most of the components. This thing uses, what is it, 2SA 1095 and 2SC 2565. That's actually not the original on the schematics. Those transistors are not the ones on the schematics. The ones on the schematics are the 2SB745, I think it is, and 2SD705, if I'm not mistaken. So these transistors aren't the same as on the schematics. I'm not sure if I can get them. That's on that side. What have I got on this side? I think I've got the same thing on this side. So these output transistors have been changed, it seems. But okay, selection seems to work. I don't know if anything else has been damaged. If it has been damaged with the bath, then we can obviously trace the signal and fix it, which is what I will do next. So I want to thank you for watching. I'm sorry about the sacrilege that this video represents. I know that my reaction when I first saw people washing amplifiers was total amazement, and I never ever thought I would try it. But yeah, I guess you got to try everything at least once and hope you don't die or kill the piece of equipment in this case. So that's it for now. I want to thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, please subscribe, like, share, and all that jazz. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so on Patreon. And one more thing, since this is pretty close to the end of the year, I probably will be taking some time off from this hobby. My daughter's coming back from varsity this weekend, so it'll be family time, and I may not be back on here with the video before the new year. So I want to wish you all happy holidays, share them with family, have a good time, and I'll see you back soon in the new year. Bye for now.